student life and leadership at New College, but I work with an amazing group of colleagues that work in the field of residence life. And so today we have a session talking about residence life at New College. And so we have a couple panelists, we have some professional staff, we have some student leaders as well, and they're gonna introduce themselves in a moment. But to begin, I wanna just give the heads up that we'll be recording the session. We'll be posting the session later on both Presence, our online student engagement platform, as well as through YouTube. So if you wanna check it out, maybe you missed some things or you have to leave early, or maybe you have a friend who couldn't be here today, you can kind of tell them what's kind of going on. But with that, just as a heads up, I'll throw it now over to Dirk Rodricks. Dirk, the floor is yours.
Great. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Good morning from Toronto, Canada. Wherever you are in the world, it's a morning, afternoon, evening, or night. I'm excited to be here because today we get to talk a little bit about residence life at New College. And one of the first things we want to be able to do is to kind of get a sense of who's in the room. It's always nice to kind of know where you're coming from. And so this is going to be an opportunity for you to kind of tell us where you are at right now. So if you go up to your screen to view options, you will see an annotate button. You click annotate, and then you will be able to kind of mark where you're at. So you can draw a circle, you can kind of do an arrow, you can kind of do something, but just like mark where you're at. Tell us where you're at with a circle, a heart, yes. We'll give that a few minutes. If you're just joining us, we are just doing a little activity where you're letting us know where in the world you are right now. You can do this by looking at the view options link. It's a little drop-down menu. Click the word annotate. A toolbar will appear, and you can click on the stab heart symbol. So thank you again for joining us from various parts of the world. I see stars, hearts, arrows, circles, lines. And that is just a little bit of the diversity that we have joining us today. Again, my name is Dirk Rodricks. I'm the Assistant Dean for Residence Life. I have the privilege of working with an amazing set of colleagues and students here at New College at the University of Toronto. Just want to be able to kind of give you a sense of what it looks like today. We'll go through a few guidelines that will make today's session a meaningful one for you. We will have an introduction to who we are as the Office of Residence and Student Life, take you a little bit through our mission, vision, and values, introduce you to the residence community and some of the demographics, how we are organized, how we are structured here today, take you through what we call the residence curriculum. It's a really, really significant part of the way we support students here in residence, and you'll get to kind of see not only what that is, but what that impact has been on the experience of incoming students, as well as returning students to residence at New College. Finally, we'll talk a little bit about learning goals, and then we will kind of pivot. We will pivot to a little more focused conversation around the housing process. One of my colleagues, Cassandra Pirowitz, will be leading us in that particular section. And then we will conclude with my colleague and partner in crime, Elizabeth Shaha, who's our residence life coordinator, taking us through a Q&A with one of our panelists, with a panel of some of our students and staff. So that is what we've got planned out for you this morning. So a little bit of an introduction to us. Before we do that, I'm going to kind of activate a little bit of a poll. And so I'm going to ask you to take a look at this poll. And it's the first question. How are you feeling at the moment? Right? So there are two questions there. The first one is, how are you feeling at the moment? The second question you'll see at the bottom is, what makes you excited about the fall? as we're seeing choices come in, there is a large number of you that is excited. Combined with that, maybe some of you are excited as well as nervous, concerned. I want you to know that those are perfectly valid things to have side by side. You can feel excited. You can also feel excited with a sense of nervousness, concern for what is happening in the world and the ways in which things will unfold over the next 6 to 8 months. That is perfectly valid. And in fact, it's absolutely normal to be able to kind of do this. Moving to university, transitioning to university is a big moment. And we've been told how it's been scripted so many times before in movies, our parents, our families, our friends. But this year is a little different. We are rewriting the script. So it's perfectly okay to be able to feel that. As we are looking at what makes you excited about the fall, a large number of you are really excited about starting a new chapter in your life, making new friends, moving to a new city, a province, a country. Some of you are even challenged about feeling excited about the academics and being challenged intellectually, which is great. I see that some of you are not as excited about being able to learn from your living room, just a small number of you, 9%. But it's really, getting started on your career interests, getting involved in the many campus and college opportunities that may exist. So this is excellent because it really gives us a sense of what we are going to do. We're going to give you maybe another 10 seconds to make sure you get your submissions in for these 2 polls before we continue on with our presentation. So here you see the poll results coming in. The first one is, how are you feeling at the moment? 75% of you said excited. 56% really, the nervousness is there. Concerned. Yeah, so we can see this mix of feelings that you're feeling at the moment, which is really important to kind of note. It's really valid with everything happening. This is a big moment. So just something for you to kind of keep in mind, that we at New College, and especially us New College residents, we recognize that this is a big step. Moving countries, moving cities, transitioning to university. It is not just an event, it is an experience. And so some of that really needs to kind of get tended to. Starting a new chapter, a lot of you are excited about that. A bunch of you are excited about moving, getting a routine down. Some of you are choosing to kind of be here on campus, recognizing that, we may be entering a hybrid kind of delivery in terms of our academics, and that's really important to note. Okay. So let us talk a little bit about the Office of Residence and Student Life. New College is one of the largest divisions at the Faculty of Arts and Sciences at the University of Toronto. And we at the Office of Residence and Student Life are led by our Dean of Students, Leah McCormick-Smith. I work on the Residence Life side. Tom LeBlanc works on the Student Life and Leadership side, and Nikki Butler is the Assistant Dean of Administration. What this means is the 3 of us have 3 very distinct portfolios, but we work very collaboratively with each other to be able to kind of ensure that students are supported whether they live on campus or off campus. Nikki in particular is the one that kind of works with Cassandra to be able to coordinate housing admissions, the housing process, and we will hear from Cassandra later on in this presentation. Both Todd and myself are assisted by a team of wonderful professionals. Jerusha Ratnakanthan does the programs and communications for our office. Elizabeth Shaha is both my right hand and my left hand on most days. Elizabeth Shaha is my partner on the Residence Life side, and Jared Boland is Todd's partner on the Student Life and Leadership side. And this is your Office of Residence and Student Life. We are generally your first stop for anything or any question you may have. Sometimes your questions may be academic in nature, and we can still be your first stop. We may not provide you with an answer, but we will definitely provide you with a connection to the registrar's office at New College if you are a Faculty of Arts and Sciences student, or we will connect you with one of your faculty registrars if you are a professional faculty student. Professional faculty students means that you are either with the Faculty of Architecture, Music, Kinesiology and Physical Education, Engineering, and Nursing, and the like. So just so you get a sense of what the University of Toronto is like in terms of organization. So here we are. Who we are as an office, you met a few people, but this is what we do. The New College Office of Residence and Student Life contributes to the academic mission of the college and facilitates students' transition in, through, and out of their experience at the University of Toronto. We embrace our responsibility in helping students become and continue to be engaged participants in the world around them. And you get to define what that world around you means. Sometimes your world around you is your family. Sometimes your world around you is your neighborhood. Sometimes your world around you is the classes you take, or the organizations and the clubs and student societies that you will be a part of. What's really, really important is that you recognize the interconnectedness of those worlds, that you realize how one world can influence another, and the ways in which you probably need to be able to kind of recognize those worlds and take care of them. We help support you in doing that. To do this work, we have a set of values that guides our process, that guides the way that we will support you through your experience here, whether that's 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. We don't really care about that. We care that you're here and that you're working towards a goal that will make you proud, that will make your families proud, and that is what matters. So collaboration, equity grounded, innovation, openness, personal growth, and student-centered. Those are the 6 core values that help guide our process. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to kind of soak what each of those means for the ways in which we do that. So a couple of things to note as you're going through this. You'll hear the word reciprocity a lot, and we recognize that reciprocity means a little bit of both. It means that we are doing things for you, but you're doing things for your communities as well. And we are investing in you, but you're investing in your communities as well. And we believe reciprocity is a fundamental value to living in a just and productive society. We also value storytelling. A lot of that is woven through the programs that we deliver. It's very much a cornerstone of our curriculum and the ways in which we work. We try to think of it as being, try to think of us as being innovative. If you have an idea, we want to hear it. We want to be, we pride ourselves in being open and generous to receiving ideas, receiving critique, making sure that we work with you to co-construct this world and this experience that you're paying a lot of money to be here for. So I think that is something that we really, really value as a strength of our program here at New College, that we are collaborative, that we are open, that we recognize the value of stories, distinct stories, different stories, but we recognize the value of paying attention to our histories and to imagining a better world for all of us. So a little bit about how residence is structured here at New College. We have 3 buildings. We have Wilson Hall, Wetmore Hall, and 45 Wilcox. What you should know is there are approximately, in any given year, there are approximately 881 students that live in residence. We are a very, very diverse community from all over the world. I've been at New College about 5 years now. And I've seen us get more diverse over the last 5 years. And so that is something for you to kind of recognize, something for you to appreciate and hold on to, that you're not alone, that you live in a community that is filled with a lot of different kinds of stories. and that each story matters. We are mostly a first-year undergraduate student residence. We are a residence that is under the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. So while we do admit students from professional faculties, a large majority of our students are from the Faculty of Arts and Sciences. As I said, we're mostly first year, but we are also upper year students. So we have about 30% of upper year students or students who choose to return to residence after their first year. We have 20 houses. So if you are a Harry Potter fan, we don't have just 4, we have 20. And these houses are of approximately 40 to 50 students each. They're smaller communities. And one of the reasons why they're smaller communities is because we want you to kind of find a community within the larger maze that is the University of Toronto. The college system, of which New College is one of 7 colleges in the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, is designed so that you can have a smaller community within the larger university system. Collectively, University of Toronto is about 80,000 students. And so the University of Toronto at New College is about 6,000 students. And then we provide you a residence community, which is about 900 students. And we recognize that people feel differently about these communities. And so they have different experiences when they're involved with residents and involved with a college, as opposed to being involved with the University of Toronto. And that affords you a more intimate experience, a more focused experience. And we hope you will take us up on that invitation to kind of get involved in residence and get involved at the college level, because they can be very, very fulfilling experiences that will add a lot to the work that you can do out in the community after you're done with your program. So we have 20 houses. These houses compete in a series of activities throughout the year, and that everything counts towards the championship cups, which is a big, 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 big deal in residence. The competition gets fierce. There are 3 residence cups, 1 for each building. And so you're competing with about 6 or 7 different houses as you kind of negotiate the year. The activities range from athletic activities to cultural activities to social activities, to intellectual activities, to fun activities. We think everything is fun. But yeah, the 20 houses are a hallmark and a foundation for the ways in which we organize student leadership in residence. Each of those houses is led by a residence don. A residence don or a residence assistant, as it's known in other countries, is the person that helps steward and shape that community. That person becomes your go-to person if you live in residence and you need any kind of assistance or help. We have a team of 21 residence dons, and they're ably assisted and supported by a team of 11 residence academic programmers. The residence academic programmers do a series of programs that support your academic sustainability in residence, whereas the residence dons do a whole bunch of programs, but they really help are your first point of contact in case anything occurs in residence. So we've talked a little bit about residence demographics. We used to have 6 learning communities. We are down to 3 learning communities now. These 3 learning communities are sustainability, access, and equity, which is a beautiful, beautiful community committed to justice, equity, access, and thinking about sustainability in different ways. We have the innovation and technology community, which is an interdisciplinary community. We have a lot of comp sci students in there, engineering students in there, as well as Rockman students in there, really thinking about innovation and technology in new ways. And then we have our life sciences community, which is one of our oldest and most distinguished communities, primarily because of the fact that we have the human biology program that is housed at New College. And that together with this learning community and a number of first-year learning communities in terms of FLIC are wonderful opportunities to kind of get plugged in. So this is residence life and a little bit about New College as well in terms of how diverse we are. We have about 40% of our population is international. In residence, that jumps to about 60%, which is really, really cool. So that's something for you to kind of know as well. So this is our residence. Curriculum, and I want to be able to talk a little bit about the residence priority, because that is something that guides everything that we do. And the residence priority, the residence college, the new college residence life priority is as follows. We prioritize a safe and supportive residence experience where students can grow academically, explore their personal identity, and purposefully engage with their community with respect, responsibility, and reciprocity. And this priority translates into 4 key learning goals: academic sustainability, purposeful transitions, personal and collective wellness, and community responsibility and engagement. And everything that we do in residence is connected to these 4 things. I want to draw attention to the word sustainability when I talk about academics. A lot of other universities will talk about academic success. We do not prescribe what success is. We recognize that you will do that for yourself, right? So you need to recognize what you need. You need to understand the resources that are available to help you get there. And then you need to be able to tap into it. And we will provide you with a set of programs and services that help you discover each of those things. That to us is what we are talking about. We want to make sure that whatever you decide your level of success is sustainable. If you're happy, that's what matters. If you're well, that's what matters. So we want to make sure that whatever you're doing is sustainable. I have a lot of students that turn around to me and come in with really unrealistic goals that may not be sustainable over the 4-year period. We don't want you to burn yourself out. We want you to recognize what you need to do to recalibrate, to reassess, and to bounce back. That to us is really, really important in the work that we do. We recognize that you will be undergoing a number of transitions. For some of you, it's moving countries. For some of you, it's moving cities. Sometimes, and it's not about the distance you will travel to get here. That's important, but it's not the only thing. Sometimes coming in from 3 hours outside Toronto can be as much of a culture shock as coming from 7,000 miles away. And so we want to be able to recognize that there are multiple transitions happening for you. That we are all about you cultivating a sense of interdependence. That you know we exist, that we are here to be able to kind of facilitate access to any kind of resources that you may need. But we also expect that you will also be able to kind of take advantage of those resources when presented to you. So that interdependence becomes really, really important. I don't need to talk about personal and collective wellness a lot, because in this time of COVID-19 and the pandemic, there's been a lot of conversation about what each of us needs to be able to be well, both personally and for the people around us. And finally, community engagement and responsibility. You live in a community in residence. That cannot be denied. You are part of a community, and we expect you to contribute to that community in a positive way. That means abiding by the community standards. That means engaging in leadership opportunities. That means recognizing your place within a whole, a community. You're part of something bigger, and the ways in which that can motivate you to do good in this world. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about the impact of the residence learning goals. So we'll talk a little bit about first-year students. Last year, 96.7% of students participated in intentional conversations. So what are intentional conversations? There are at least 2 check-ins per semester with your residence dorm. 96.7% of students living in residence did that. And over 98.4% of that 96.7 mentioned that they were useful. The intentional check-ins were useful in helping them better succeed at U of T during their first year. What does this show? This shows that the intentional interactions the students have with their residence dorms play a significant role in their first year success. Having someone that has been through it, having someone that you can lean on to for advice or for direction or for referrals, as an ear to listen, becomes really, really incredible, an incredible source of support for first-year students. Upper year students, as I said, we do have about 30% that return to live in residence. 91.75% of upper year students agreed overall that they had a better knowledge of what they needed to do as a result of the 4 learning goals. And 90% of upper years respondents agreed overall that they could name the resources related to supporting these 4 learning goals as a result. So not only kind of getting a better sense of what they needed to do, but actually being able to know the resources that they needed to kind of take advantage of in order to be successful, in order to be able to be sustainable with their academic success. Sustained living in residence beyond the first year deepens knowledge and resource awareness, and the ability to be able to actually apply that. For our international students joining us today, 94.75% of international students agreed overall that they had a better knowledge of what they needed to do as a result of these goals, and 90.5% that they could name resources. So living in residence has particular benefit for international students coming in. Not only is it convenient, but it also is a sense of security, a sense of support in terms of being able to stay connected to a community, but also stay connected to resources when you may need them. So with that, I'm going to yield my time over to Cassandra, and Cassandra is going to come on and take over with a little bit of information around our housing process. So welcome, Cass.
Thank you, Dirk. My name is Cassandra. Can you see my video? Okay, perfect. So my name is Cassandra. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. It is 10:13 Toronto time. I'm sure we have time zones around the world that are joining us. Again, my name is Cassandra. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the administrative assistant for the Office of Residence and Student Life. You'll currently find me working remotely from home. However, throughout the year, you'll find me at the front desk of the Office of Residence and Student Life. And I'm the first point of contact for visitors, staff and faculty, prospective students, and incoming students. We encourage you to reach out to us if you have questions. You see the email here, new.residence@utoronto.ca. Just be sure to include your full name and student ID so we can best serve you. Perfect. So here's a little bit about what I'll be covering in this portion of the presentation. We have a brief overview of new college residents, a little bit about the University of Toronto's housing guarantee and how to maintain your spot in residence for the coming year, residence fees and amenities, important residence dates, which are very important, transitioning into residence, some new college resources and contact information. And at the end, there will be a brief opportunity to ask questions and find out more about residence, and if we haven't covered something, you can definitely ask it at that point. Next slide, please. Perfect. So the Office of Residence and Student Life is most commonly known as ORSL. So that's what I'll be referring to our office as for this portion of the presentation. If you have maintained the housing guarantee this summer and receive a residence placement at New College in early August, our office will be one of your main points of contact leading up to move-in and throughout the academic year. Residents receive a number of emails from our office to their UToronto email addresses, including information about move-in, holidays, facilities updates, residence reminders, and departures. In addition to our office, from move-in straight through to your final day in residence in April, student leaders in residence, including your residence Dawn and residence academic programmer, will also be there to support you. So there are a lot of places where you can find support, however best serves you. As Dirk mentioned, we are traditionally a community of over 880 undergraduate students, approximately 70% first year and 30% upper year. However, due to the COVID pandemic, the total number of students in residence will be reduced, and the ratio of first year to upper year students may change. We are planning extensively to ensure the health and safety of our residents in the coming weeks and months, and we encourage you to bookmark and regularly review the U of T's online FAQ throughout the summer. That's a very good place that even I refer to throughout the year, or throughout the summer. Next slide, please. Perfect. So a little bit about room types. Historically, New College Residence offers 3 different room types for students: single rooms, double rooms, and bed over desk doubles. However, due to the pandemic, for the upcoming school year, we are planning on placing our residents in single rooms only to abide by public health directives. Again, if you have maintained the housing guarantee and receive a placement at New College in early August, you will then indicate your specific learning preferences, including your learning community preferences that Dirk mentioned earlier. We also encourage you to check out our virtual residence tour. The URL is listed there through our student guide, with a quick note that the photos were taken before the pandemic. Next slide, please. Perfect. So the U of T housing guarantee. In a nutshell, residence is guaranteed for all new full-time students entering their first year of university in an undergraduate program for the first time, provided that they have indicated their interest in residence by completing the StarRes application by March 31st and receive and accept an offer of admission by June 1st. Students must respond to every deadline and meet all deposit requirements to maintain their eligibility. Next slide, please. Perfect. If you maintained the housing guarantee, you would have received an email from Housing Services on June 5th with an invitation to submit your first deposit. To continue with your application and maintain your residence guarantee, you were required to pay a first residence deposit of 600 Canadian dollars on StarRes by June 19th. Additionally, this week you were asked to reconfirm your interest in residence, and you are required to submit a second deposit of 1,400 Canadian dollars by July 31st. If you have questions regarding the contents of that email, I know it was quite big, or about the second deposit itself, please contact Housing Services, not us, at residence@utoronto.ca. Housing Services is managing this deposit process up to this point. Upon receipt of your residence placement in early August, which could be New College, you will be required to complete an occupancy agreement, agree to all terms, and confirm your placement. What that means is that until you receive your residence placement in early August, which is a few weeks away, we can't confirm where any incoming first-year student will be placed. Students who are unable to move into residence in September may choose to remain active applicants and retain their residence guarantee until January 2021. And you can find more information about that process, as well as the residence admissions process, on the online FAQ, again, listed there on the Vice Provost's website. And a very important email in bold, very, very important, all correspondence is conducted electronically. That's how the university at this point is communicating with their students, specifically pertaining to the residence guarantee. So please be sure to make sure that residents@utoronto.ca and new.residents@utoronto are going to end up in your inbox, and that your junk or spam filters. We want to make sure that you're getting all of our important UToronto communications. Next slide, please. Perfect. So historically, New College offers 3 meal plans: Carte Blanche, Plan 15, and Plan 330. However, we are changing things up for the upcoming year, and to abide by public health guidelines, we are implementing a declining balance model with 2 meal plan options of light and full. The dining process will be modified, and depending on social distancing guidelines, we will potentially coordinate time to entrance based on houses, increased educational signage and hand sanitizer stations, and the capacity for eating in the dining hall may be reduced or eliminated. We're still working out the plans. However, if you do receive that placement and confirm your residency at New College, you'll definitely get a lot more information about how dining at New College works. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Perfect. So residence fees and amenities. This is a big one. We've gotten a lot of questions, and we just confirmed it this week, so I'm very happy to share with you. New College accommodation is comprehensive, and your residence fee is a combination of your single room and mandatory meal plan, whether that's light or full. Again, we have a mandatory meal plan. We are not an apartment style, so you are required to opt into one of the meal plans. Residence fees are then paid in 2 installments. The first installment of residence fees for all students is September 30th. The second and final payment is due November 30th, unless you're receiving OSAP, Ontario Student Loan Funding, in which case your student installment would be due January 31st. You can see here the residence fees. It's a lot of information. We don't expect you to memorize it, and it is on our website. They're broken down into two sets of charts. The green charts on the left side are single room fees for Wilson Hall and Wetmore Hall, and the blue charts on the right side list single room fees for 45 Wilcox. I want to highlight the bottom charts, which indicate the fee installments. For one example, if you are living at Wilson Hall this year, your first installment on September 30th will be $7,560 minus the 2 deposits that you will have already paid in June and July. And your second and final installment on November 30th will be $7,560. In this session, we will not be covering how to pay residence fees, but you can expect to receive more information, more detailed information about this process in August. If you do anticipate requiring financial support of any kind, we strongly encourage you to be proactive and reach out to the registrar's office, and their email is listed here. They are a wonderful resource, and we point a lot of students in their direction. They're very happy to help. Next slide, please. Great, so some more exciting stuff about more of the amenities at New College. All residence rooms are hardwired internet access available with authentication via your UTOR ID. Additionally, there is full wireless internet access available on all residence floors and in the public areas of New College, including the Wilson and Wetmore lounges and the DG Ivy Library in Wilson Hall. For computer facilities, the DG Ivy Library houses 60 workstations providing access to the internet, special collections, and color printing. They also have a variety of tech equipment, including laptops and microphones that you can borrow. On our floors, we have common rooms, laundry facilities, and washrooms. Every floor offers complimentary laundry facilities and a common room with a couch, chairs, TV, and eating area. All washrooms are shared, and each washroom has several individual lockable shower stalls and toilet stalls. As we follow public health guidelines, these spaces will have increased cleaning and reduced capacity at any given time. It is also likely that each resident will be assigned to one specific washroom. Plans for high traffic spaces are currently being developed and will be communicated to our incoming residents once they are solidified. Health and wellness of our residents community is of the utmost importance. So while we don't have specific answers right now, please know that we are working very hard to ensure that everybody is safe in residence. Music rooms, which are something close to my heart. There are several music practice rooms at New College available to New College students and residents. These rooms are equipped with upright acoustic pianos and available for booking on an individual practice basis. Right now, the music rooms are closed. However, we're monitoring public health guidelines to determine when we can reopen. And finally, accessibility, another thing that is very near and dear to my heart as well. We do have a few barrier-free rooms in residence and an accessible entrance to the dining hall from Wetmore Hall. If you do require support living in residence, we encourage you as soon as possible to reach out to accessibility services as soon as possible. And you can visit them at www.studentlife.utoronto.ca/AS. Perfect, next slide, please. Great. So some very important residence dates with a note that they are subject to change. The 2 deposit deadlines, the June 19th one has already passed. The July 31st deadline is coming up, and that those are the 2 deposit deadlines. When you pay your deposits on time, that ensures your place in residence. And then at that point, you will receive your residence placement early August. I don't have a specific date, but definitely in the coming weeks, be sure to check your email on a daily basis. And again, until that residence placement email, we cannot confirm that any incoming first-year student will be residing at New College. Our move-in day is to be confirmed, and that is because we are developing a very thorough schedule to ensure our incoming residents can move in safely, efficiently, and ensuring that our traffic is well organized. There aren't that many people passing each other in the hallways. Our orientation week, we are definitely revamping that, and more information will come about that as well. Classes begin on September 10th, so in a few short months, you'll be beginning classes, which is very exciting. Again, September 30th and November 30th are the residence installment dates. And then May 1st at noon is the end of fall winter residence. So it flies by. Before you know it, you'll be here and then you'll be into your second year, which is pretty wild. We have received numerous questions about the quarantine process and how move-in and arrival will look like for international students. The university is developing extensive plans for future residents, and we strongly encourage you to regularly review the online COVID FAQ for up-to-date information. And that's the Vice Provost website that we had up earlier. Additional information on the process for registering for a mandatory quarantine space and service provisions will be available shortly. I know that the date was originally posted for the end of June, and now it's mid-July. So definitely check your email on a regular basis, as well as the Vice Provost website. And next slide, please. Great, so transitioning into residence. You can find answers about residence throughout the summer through a number of different channels. Definitely, if you have questions, a good place to check is your email. And you've been receiving a number of emails from Housing Services, and that's residence@utoronto.ca. Definitely follow us on social media with the handle life@new. We have a wonderful Instagram account that our colleague Jerusha manages, so definitely follow us there. Do be sure to bookmark 3 key websites listed here: our residence website on New College, the Housing Services website, and the Vice Provost website. Alternatively, if you have a question and you can't find it, don't hesitate to reach out to us at new.residence@utoronto.ca, and be sure to include your full name and applicant or student number so we can best serve you quickly. And final slide. Great. So what happens next? We are in the online summer welcome activities right now. There have been a number of sessions that have already happened. At the end of this session, there are reflection questions that you can answer in presence for a chance to win an iPad. There will be a question and answer period with Dirk and myself after I wrap this up, followed by a residence life panel coordinated by Elizabeth and a few of our student leaders. And then a reminder that the next housing deposit is July 31st. Again, early August, you'll be receiving your residence-specific placement if you have maintained the housing guarantee. And then our move-in dates, you'll get more information about that in August. Again, it's to be confirmed at the moment. And then a very final reminder that I have stressed and will stress again: be sure to check your email, spam, and junk folders. We have a lot of information coming down the pipe, and we want to make sure that you receive this information in a timely manner, and that you don't realize 4 weeks later, I'm missing this thing. So definitely check your email. And with that, it's onto a bit of a question and answer period with me and Dirk.
Awesome. Thank you, Cass. And Dirk, maybe what I'll do is we can kind of tackle this together. So thanks everyone. Dirk, I'll let you add to this in a second. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Cass. Thank you, Dirk, for explaining, kind of speaking to residence life and what the application process looks like. I know we have a lot of questions in the chat, and we want to be able to get to each of those. So I'm going to actually have a bit of a team approach to
so
this.
We'll start.
Yeah, Dirk, go ahead.
We'll start there really quickly. Just so you know that, so the 2 residence installments, I think there were a lot of questions. If I'm coming, how much do I pay if I'm coming in only in January? And Cassandra alluded to that 2 installments. The first installment's due September. The second installment is due in November. Those installments loosely refer to the charges for each of the terms. So it's not only the charge for your for your boarding and lodging, but it's also the charge for your meal plan included in that. Those 2 are very much due. So your November 30th is the deadline for your January installment. So if you're coming potentially in January only, and you continue to maintain the residence guarantee by making sure that you're paying attention to all of the emails that you're getting, then you will be eligible to be able to pay just what is due for the winter term. But you still need to do that by those deadlines, and you still need to follow. So all of the other rules and regulations apply, and recognize that as we are kind of moving through this process, the housing process must remain stricter in that sense, because of the limited amount of spots and the really high demand that we have. Even in this pandemic time, you may think that the demand has fallen, and it has not. And so it's really, really important that you kind of follow those deadlines. Make sure that you have your right email, activate your U of T email, like all of those kinds of things. You need to kind of do that. One of the biggest excuses we hear is that, oh, I didn't receive it. Well, we can track on this end when an email has been sent out to you. So it's the systems track it all. So it's really, really, really important that you make sure that you activate your U of T email, you're checking those FAQs with the vice provost students, because that will kind of outline a lot of what's happening. I know that there are a lot of questions around quarantine. I'm going to refer you to, once the quarantine plan has been approved, whether or not you're an international student or you're a student who's coming from a different province, that will cover who is included in that quarantine plan and what your quarantine obligations are. Chances are, though, you will not be quarantining in residence. Chances are you will be quarantining off residence. And then once your quarantine period is over, you will move into residence. But again, I'm going to direct you to that vice provost students FAQ. That will be the official direction from the university. What is really important for you to know is that it doesn't matter which college you're going to be at or which campus you're going to be at. That is the FAQ you want to look at. Because quarantining and issues of quarantining, whether that is in the fall or whether that is in January, all of that will be coordinated centrally by the institution. And that is something that is really, really important for you to know. We are looking like we will have more than 1 day of move-in in both terms. Potentially, we will have 2 days of move-in, again, to be able to abide by the public health directives around that. Again, that information about moving in and when you will move in, recognize that if you are coming from overseas, you will be required by current legislation, by current regulations, you will be required to quarantine for 14 days, which means that if you want to be able to move in and start on the first day of classes, you need to be able to back that up. So if your move in is September 4th or September 5th, you want to be able to back that up by 14 days and make sure that you adequately plan for your arrival, right? And so again, I direct you to that FAQ to be able to kind of do that. And Cassandra has just sent out the FAQ link as well.
I did want to mention one thing. It's possible that we have participants that have not maintained the housing guarantee. How it happens is that there are a number of deadlines set in place. I know it's pretty overwhelming. You're managing your academic deadlines with your housing deadlines. If you aren't sure, you can email us. There were a number of emails that went out reminding about the first and second deposits. So if you are wondering why you didn't receive emails, it's possible that you have missed a deadline, but definitely email me at new.residence. That's new.residence@utoronto.ca with your full name and student ID, and I'm happy to help.
So there are meal plan questions. Yes, we will cater to a variety, even though we will be declining balance, we will cater to a variety of dietary accommodations, including vegetarian, vegan. If you have a dietary accommodation, once you arrive on campus, we can put you in touch with our residents, dietitian and nutritionist with dining services, and they can answer questions and make sure you have everything that you will need to be able to eat well at the dining hall. Can you bring a mini fridge into the dorm? Yes, we allow you to bring a mini fridge. In fact, we actually work with a rental company here that allows you to be able to rent the mini fridge for the duration of the year. It gets dropped off for you and picked up for you at the end of the year. So it's easy. So you don't need to kind of bring it in. You can kind of activate that and it'll get kind of dropped off for you here. So that's a really, really good feature that we will provide. We don't know yet. I think the question around single rooms and double rooms right now, because of public health directives, the double rooms will basically be the premium singles. Isn't that right, Cassandra? In terms of, when we say what's a premium single?
Essentially, premium is 45.
Okay, so the premium single is 45. So yes, so all doubles have been taken offline for the academic year at this time. We have no, if we, depending on the situation, we cannot guarantee, but there will only be single rooms at New College. The premium singles that Cassandra was talking about are the single rooms in 45 Wilcox, right? We recognize that some of you may feel like, oh my gosh, having a single room may contribute to feelings of isolation or loneliness. And I want to be able to kind of say that you live in a community with people who are like right next door, right across the hall. You will see people a lot in the dining hall. And even if it's socially distanced, I think that there will be opportunities for you to engage with each other and engage with your dom. So I think that it's really, really important for you to kind of take advantage of some of those opportunities as they are presented. Sean asks, are you able to request a placement in a specific building for residents within New College? You either get to say whether you are taking the premium single or the regular single, and then placements get done. Cassandra, you want to kind of clarify that?
I'm not sure. Yeah. Truthfully, we're in uncharted territories, but I do know if you do receive your placement at New College in August, once you confirm that and you're like, yes, I'm coming to New College, this is the date that I'm coming, more information from Nikki will be coming about indicating all of your preferences about learning communities and sort of the nitty-gritty about your preferences about which buildings you want to live in. So it's kind of a to be confirmed and to be more information to come. Unfortunately, I'm in this position where a lot of the time I'm like, we'll know that information in a few weeks, but we don't know yet. I'm sorry.
A couple quick flyers here in the chat quickly to Cass. Why is 45 considered premium? Larger rooms, other amenities. Why is 45 considered premium?
Might throw that to Dirk, actually.
Yep. Cool.
So 45 is one of our newer buildings. A lot of the rooms, it's one of the newer buildings, and so and when I say new, it's it wasn't built in the 60s, and so it was built this century.
2003.
So 2003, 2004, and so so it's premium. It's a newer building. There are amenities in that building that are not. It will have its own coffee shop in the fall. The spaces are not, I wouldn't say nicer. They're just differently laid out than Wilson and Wetmore. If you notice Wilson and Wetmore, if you've seen pictures of New College, you'll notice that the Wilson and Wetmore buildings have curves, and sometimes that can impact the layouts of rooms, and so that's something to just keep in mind. We do have 3D tours of the rooms available on the website. So if you go to the New College website to Living in Residence, we do have the ability to kind of have you take virtual tours of our residence rooms in Wilson, Wetmore, and 45, so you'll get a sense of what that looks like.
And maybe I'll have Cass also share that link when she has a moment about the particular tours. I also saw a question a little bit earlier talking about orientation and what should they be thinking about what it's like as a commuter if they're coming in January. My portfolio actually oversees all the transition and orientation programs. And so what I would say is all of our programs for orientation in the fall have been fully moved online. That's for all of our international students. That's for our more traditional, larger program for all incoming students. That includes also our Ignite academic orientation. So for the fall period right now, we're committed to being online. And so even students that are going to be considered off campus, or if they're going to be moving in later, we're not really defining people as a commuter or a resident student, at least from our perspective. In a regular year, it'd be much more definitive. So I would say, like, don't feel like you have to attend a certain one because your classification may change. We're saying, listen, go to the program that's going to be designed for all incoming students. We're recognizing most students are telecommuting in some capacity, and therefore our programs are for everyone. So I saw the question about that commuter piece. Hopefully that answers that a little bit more. I also am seeing a lot of questions to maybe Cass and to Dirk about students that may be looking at a January move-in and how that may or may not impact fees. Cassandra, maybe could you speak to that a little bit more?
Yeah, great question. If you will be joining campus in January, your fees will be prorated, so you will not be required to pay the full year's residence fees. Right now, what I would recommend is reaching out to housing services if you have questions about the mute yourself. All good.
Yep.
Yes, so if you are an active applicant and you are not able to join us in September, October, November, you know you are able to join us in January. You can follow the steps in the email that you received this week from housing services. It's very important that you follow the steps. It was a very big email. I was pretty overwhelmed when I was reading it. But if you have questions about that piece, contact housing services. And then from our end, we will be in touch with you as depending on when you're arriving, that will determine your fees. So the fees presented are for the full academic year, not winter only.
Thanks, Cass. And so what I want to maybe do now is I'm going to go to the top of the list of questions and just kind of run through as we look to conclude this piece of the conversation. There's a lot that haven't been answered, but I think some have been answered in different ways. So I'm going to kind of cursory go through. Maybe I'll pepper them to Dirk and Cass to just echo anything they've already said, or if we already addressed it, I'll be able to build on that too. So someone's asking any word of what's going to happen with the students from the US. I believe the answer to that would be following the FAQ link. Cassandra, would that be the best place to direct? So in the chat, Brandon, there's a link to that. That's not a decision that our group makes, or rather the university at large makes, so you can refer to that for the information about students from the US. I also want to build on a point Dirk spoke to earlier about students that are overseas, but really I think, Dirk, would you actually say that international students not from Canada would be more of a better way of phrasing that? Just to clarify your point from before about students overseas and quarantining.
Yes, I think it's also really important to kind of consider overseas. You really consider the ways in which you will get here. I mean, there are going to be
right.
If you're coming in by land and crossing a land border is going to be a different set of potentially a different set of regulations, potentially different set of delays and processes to go through than if you're coming in by air. So I think it's important to consider how you're going to get here. Recognize that much of that will be outside the control of the university. The university will be following federal guidelines as well as provincial guidelines with respect to that. That is something that we don't control. So you need to be able to plan accordingly. You need to be able to plan, choose your airlines wisely if you're having that. We can't advise you on what to do and how to do it, just so that you know. But consider all of those things. I think some folks are considering, like, what does it mean to kind of drive in here, even if it is a long way and flying is easier because they think it'll be easier to get in. Also recognize whether you're going to be moving here alone or moving here with people. Chances are, if you are moving here alone or you're moving here with people, you might be the only one admitted into the country. Because you have a reason for being here, which is school. But you're, depending on what the situation is at that particular point in time, it may be deemed that the people that are with you, parents, friends, partners, that may not be deemed as essential, even though they're here for a very essential task of seeing you off, that may not be deemed as essential in the government's eyes. And so you want to be able to kind of recognize what that may mean, and then plan accordingly. you know, the situation here is constantly evolving. We are planning to enter into phase 3. Phase 3 for the province may mean something very different to phase 3 for Toronto, which may mean very, very different for how the university chooses to interpret phase 3. So really, again, cannot stress enough, those FAQs at the Vice Provost students page, that is where you need to go to be able to get the official university directive around how they will interpret any kind of evolving guidelines, public health directives for the institution and its admissions processes.
Thanks, Dirk. And I'm going to quickly just acknowledge where we're at for time right now. I know this is a lot of great questions we want to be able to answer. And so if Cass and Dirk have the time to continue answering more, I think we could and should. I also want to be mindful of that we did have an ask to have some panel to talk to students afterwards, Dirk. So maybe I'm looking to you for a little bit of direction. Do we want to maybe
so let's pivot. Yeah, let's pivot towards to Elizabeth and the residents panel. I'm okay with staying a little later.
Okay.
To be able to kind of answer questions. So let's kind of pivot towards that. So,
and so before I throw to her, Dirk, one last thing I would say is any last questions, or if we don't feel the answers are provided in this conversation, as we said multiple times, you can email Cass and Dirk at new.residence@utoronto.ca to get these questions answered if you felt like the specifics were not listed or addressed here. But sorry, Dirk, feel free to go
as we plan to transition to the panel, I'm going to launch another set of polling to kind of get a sense of what we're going to be doing, and then take it from there. So please give us your thoughts. And remember that the hopes or plans that you submit in these questions is not anything that we will hold you to. Obviously, much of this can change. So just, you know, it just gives us a sense of where you're at, what you're thinking. I understand that some of you may not be able to kind of answer these questions because the situations in your own where you're at right now may also be evolving. So, you know, I think that just think about it and recognize that so many of our programs will still be offered. We will have a hybrid format. So whether you're here or whether you're away, there will be a program or a way for you to kind of get oriented and plugged into everything that is New College, you know, and the programs and the services and the people. You'll get connected with us. So even though you may not be here, or you plan to be here in January, Elizabeth, Cassandra, Todd, myself, these are names you should know. And we are not territorial. So even if you live in residence and you go to Todd for support, it's fine. Or if you are a commuter student or off campus and you see myself or Elizabeth, both of us live in residence, we are live-in staff, just recognize that you can always stop us and we will be able to kind of connect you or listen to you and direct you where you need to go. So looking at the poll results, a number of you hope or plan to come in, more than just over half plan to come in the fall term, live on campus. You know, about a quarter of you plan to kind of live in residence in the winter, which is great. About a fifth of you are unsure at this time. Again, perfectly normal. What are you taking away from this session? How residence life is organized at New College, but a close second is housing timelines and expectations. Yay, Cassandra will be really, really thrilled. I recognize how living in residence might be useful to my success. Yep, we hope that that's also something that you've kind of gained. Concerns that you continue to have, learning online rather than face-to-face, yes. I think that becomes really, really important. We recognize that, and our programs will be geared to help kind of mitigate some of that anxiety and that concern. Making friends, yes. Some of our programs will be really, really catered towards how we can kind of connect you with other people, similar and different from who you are and where you're from. And then what would you want to learn more about? What to pack and bring for a year in residence? Yes, we will make sure that you get that. Arrival on campus, details around that, new student orientation. So thank you for this feedback. This is really, really great because it helps us shape some of our future offerings for you. So I'm going to ask if you've captured this.
We're good, Dirk. We got it.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, over to Elizabeth.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us this far. I know this is a lot of information, and we're really hoping that with this information that you receive, that there's some students that could really express their journeys here at New College, so you could get a better sense of, you know, what they've experienced and what you could gain. So I'm going to reintroduce myself. My name is Elizabeth. I am the Residence Life Coordinator, so I work very closely with Dirk. As Dirk mentioned, I am one of the on-call staff, so I live in residence, and essentially, Dirk and we oversee the residence dons. I oversee the residence academic programmers, and I work with a lovely group of students, and they are the New College Residence Council. So their acronym is NCRC. So U of T loves acronyms. So if you get lost with it, don't worry, just ask someone and we'll explain what that means. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about NCRC before we go to the panel, because maybe, you know, you are coming into university and you might think of getting involved, or you might not think of getting involved. And I just want to share with you that there are experiences that are created here at New College for you to be, you know, taking part as soon as you get into residence. And so these are some of the positions. So there's house reps, so house representatives, junior house representatives, treasurer, social convener, birthday or sunshine reps, living learning community reps. So each of the communities that Dirk explained, so usually there's 40 to 50 students. I know this year might look different, but in these houses, there are these positions that you can get elected into, and essentially that allows you to plan a lot of programs, work with the executive team for NCRC, and just be involved. Actually, a lot of our student leaders come through this organization, and that's how they kind of get their first feelings of leadership at New College. So anyway, so if you're an incoming student and you're like, where do I, you know, what do I do? Where do I begin? This might be a good leadership opportunity that might captivate you. And now we're gonna be moving on to the residence panel. So we actually have, I organized 3 folks. Unfortunately, Lucy, who is the NCSC, so that is the New College Student Council. She is the incoming president. So unfortunately, she can't be with us today, but we do have our residence Don Tao with us and our residence academic programmer Yuki. I saw in the poll, some of you had some questions about the Don and then the RAPs. So this might be a really good opportunity to be engaged with them. So in this panel, I am going to be asking them to introduce themselves, and then we're going to dive into some questions, and then they're going to explain kind of all their answers, and I hope that you could learn from their stories and what they want to share. So with that, Yuki and Tao, I am just going to have you introduce your self, your pronouns, your program, and year of study. And Tao, you could go first.
All right. Hi, everyone. So my name is Tao. I'm one of the residence dons. I use he, him pronouns. So I completed my undergrad as a life science student. I'm finishing up my master's, and I'm hopefully transitioning into my PhD in physiology.
Awesome, thank you.
So hi guys, I'm Yuki. I use she, her, hers. I'm a RAP, Residence Academic Programmer, and I'm going to my 3rd year studying life science, like related to laboratory medicine and pathobiology. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. So my first question is for Tao. What is your earliest memory of what is your earliest memory of residence at New College?
So the very first thing that happened to me, probably like my earliest memory was from move-in day. and it's kind of the way I got welcomed in. So a little bit of backstory. I absolutely love music. Mozart's Clarinet Concerto is something that's very iconic for me. But then I'll come back to that. But for me, I grew up in Ottawa, which is about 4 hours away from Toronto. And for me, when I made the decision to come to U of T, it was, I felt like I was getting to try something new. I was kind of pushing out of my comfort zone. And so honestly, I felt a little bit more excited than nervous. And then so move-in day came, and then I was in the car with my parents. And then for me, the moment I saw that CN Tower, like when we were driving through the highway and I saw the CN Tower for the first time, that's when everything kind of hit me. I felt super nervous. I felt super uncertain about everything that was going to happen. I was kind of like, I feel so unprepared. I have no idea what's happening. I'm moving away from home. What is New College? I've never seen a new college before. I didn't choose New College as my college, to be honest. Will I make friends? I honestly have no idea. So then I remember even as we pulled up, I got out of the car. There's so many welcome to New College signs, but everything kind of between that and getting out of the car felt like a huge blur. And then after I actually picked up my keys, I walked to my room. I was still really nervous. My heart was pounding like crazy. And then when I actually walked up to my room, I saw that my Don had put my name on my door. And I had actually put a picture of Mozart right next to my name. And then that was the moment where I kind of felt a lot more at ease. I felt like a lot of that uncertainty kind of went away. And then I took it as a sign, like a literal as well as a figurative sign that, you know what, I think I'm gonna like it here. So right after that, I got to meet everyone on my floor. One thing my Don said to us was that we all come from kind of different things. We all have different things we're excited about. We all have different things that we're really nervous about. But at the end of the day, we're all in this together and we want to make friends. So be open to each other and let's have a good year. And so the people that I met on this day became some of my closest friends, and I still keep in touch with them. And it really all just started with that move-in day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tao. That was such a beautiful story. I hope that like resonate. I feel like I literally just imagined your first moments at New College. So thank you for that. My next question is for Yuki. What is something that surprised you about New College that you did not know before you moved into residence?
So for me, I think it's definitely like give me like a real communities like feelings. Because before I moved into New College, I just thought like New College gave us a dorm and students can live here and study, sleep. But like New College really surprised me like at the first day. So like because when I just arrived, I saw so many orientation leaders standing in front of the New College gate and welcome us and very happy and willing to help me to move in and told me about what like about the school and what I have to do before the school begins. And this really made me feel like wow, it's actually like a family. Like everyone cares about everyone, like give people's help as much as possible. Also, like I think New College also know like students' concerns very well, because like during the school years, I think they will hold like many academic workshops to help students to transitioning from high school to university successfully. And also like during your exam seasons, they will like prepare to tell you and teach you how to prepare exams before and how to manage your time properly. And also they will open some like TA session, tutorial sessions to help you like teach you, help you with the courses that is with some difficulties. So I found those activities really helpful and very like surprised me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. My next question is for Tao. What different leadership opportunities did you take part at New College? What encouraged you to be involved?
I did a number of different types of leadership opportunities. So one that pops to mind is, like Elizabeth mentioned, with NCRC and House Council. When I was in residence, I got to be a part of House Council. Within New College as a whole, I got to be involved in the mentorship program as a mentor. I was an orientation leader, and right now I'm a residence don. And I've also been able to volunteer with some of the programs that are housed within New College. So like Dirk mentioned, we house the human biology program, which is a life science program. So I actually got to volunteer in the community as part of a course within that program. So that was a really cool opportunity. And there's also the International Foundation program. And I got to do some volunteering through some of their programs as well. So what encouraged me to be involved was kind of that feeling of, so honestly, I've always felt that I kind of wanted to be involved a little bit, but I was always too scared to kind of put myself out there, to kind of leave my comfort zone a little bit and to just be able to apply for these things. But for me, I think it was really important for me to kind of surround myself with people that really supported me and wanted to kind of help me through it. So some of my friends, they were like, "Hey, you can do it." So that was really good for me. And then some of the other ones were kind of like, "Hey, I'll do it if you do it." And then really just once I got started, I realized how much you can learn from different types of opportunities, and how much I enjoyed it. And so then I kind of just, once you start, you can't stop, and then you just keep looking for those opportunities.
Awesome. Thank you so much. My next question is for Yuki. What has been useful to you in your journey as you live in residence?
Yeah, so New College really has provided us with various supports and opportunities to help and train me to become more confident, no matter in academics or extracurricular activities. So when I lived in Res, I was elected to be one of the representatives in my floor to represent our house, which is a really good opportunity for me to make new friends and also train my leadership and communication skills by organizing events in my house, listening to my neighbors' concern about the floor issues and properly address them with dons. And at the same time, New College will also recruit new members in student councils, orientations, and dons reps every year. So I was an orientation leader last year, which was a super fun and exciting. So in my academic life, New College also has useful writing centers and math and stats aids sessions to help me review and solve difficulties during the exam period. Also, there are study fast before exams to give students to distress themselves with cute animals coming and great food, which is a really useful mental break for me. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. So Yuki actually described a lot of our programs that we offer for support for our students. So whether it be fun animals that come in, or even being involved in different leadership opportunities, I think that there's multiple supports that she's kind of addressed. And also I know that there, in the poll, a lot of people had questions about learning about mental health supports or just other supports at the university. And I just wanted to say that there's a lot of our colleagues that our office works with very closely. So if there's anything in particular you need, you can find a residence academic programmer, a residence don, or our office, and we'll get you connected. So thank you so much for sharing, Yuki. And I believe my final question is for Tao. So, Tao, as a residence don, what advice would you give to incoming students at New College?
So one piece of advice that I would give, it's something I wish I did a little bit more of myself in my first year. But it's really just to seek out and be open to a lot of these different opportunities. Some of them have come up during this presentation, but there's so many different other opportunities that will come up, different capacities, whatever you're comfortable with. They could be around residents, they could be more academic, they could be a little bit more social. Some of them might be co-curricular, extracurricular. And basically you'll hear this a lot, but it's so true when we say that there's so many different types of opportunities, and you will be able to find something that caters to you and that you feel you might identify with. So at that same time, while you're doing those, find communities. It could be one community that you feel really comfortable around. It could be multiple different communities, as well as these different resources that were mentioned. So really find and kind of cater the communities that you belong to, and the resources that you access. Find ones that will help support you in what you want to do. So if you are trying to try out some of these different opportunities, some of them might be new, find a community through that, have the community that will support you through that. Yeah, just find encouragement and support. We have a lot of that in New College.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I hope that this residence panel highlights some of the concerns or maybe some nervousness that a lot of you might be having as incoming students. I'm so happy to say that Yuki and Tao are obviously going to be supporting us in the residence experience. So you'll probably either see them or hear about them in the near future as well. So that actually concludes the residence panel. So I want to thank Yuki and Tao for being with us and answering my questions that I have. I'm going to hop over to the chat before I just wrap up and pass it back to Todd. When we were on tour, we learned about intramural sports and how the colleges play against each other. Where can we learn more about this? So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is probably through New College Student Council. I think they have a sports rep, but
I can speak to this if you'd like.
Okay, great.
Sorry to cut you off there. Great, yeah, so quickly, there's different types. So there's intramurals that are located from the college, and then New College students will play people from different colleges. But then there's also intramurals that aren't college-based that are run more by our athletic center or varsity. And so what I'll do is I'll put the link for both, but we're not really sure what that's going to look like right now when we get back on campus, what sports are going to look like and that sort of thing. But in terms of typically, there's two types. You can do it through the New College Student Council. If Lucy were here, she'd speak to that, but I can give her give the link to you for that. And then also through varsity, our athletic center as well. So hopefully that answers your question, Sean. But I'll put that in the chat as I get here in 1 second.
If anyone does have other questions for Yuki, Tao, myself, about the student experience, feel free to either type it and we could help answer. I know that some people were a little bit, curious about missing out on some programs if you do come in January. I feel like, again, Dirk and I work really closely with Todd and Jared, who support the student life experience in leadership. So whether or not you are going to be in residence or off campus, we're going to be planning extensively for your engagement opportunities. So there's going to be something. We're going to find something for you to be connected to our community. Honestly, and also to echo a lot of what Yuki and Tao mentioned, as a student coming into the University of Toronto, it's very big. So, New College is like a small home. So Vivian, how can we, I'm just gonna make my Zoom chat a little bit bigger.
I think you're getting a little more general questions there, it looks like.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can we get access to all the programs you mentioned? So depends on which one. So in terms of there's going to be programs that are offered for all students. So I think some of the study, like Let's Talk Day, where there's like all these animals coming in, that's for everyone. There are certain programs that's for everyone, and then there's certain programs we organize that are in residence. And how you could get access to those is by connecting with us. We will have your email address, so we email students. We let them know via our Instagram account. So if you do follow us at Life at New, or on Facebook, Life at New as well, you could get that. So there's going to be lots of ways you're going to be engaging with us. So you'll get more information. Hi, could you explain what a sunshine representative is? Yeah, that's a really good question. So sunshine representative means that when you are in your house, it could be that sunshine rep, I don't know, there's various ways. Sometimes it is a birthday rep, but it's just another word for a birthday rep. Other times, sunshine reps are just people in the community who want to just do some good for some of your floor mates. So sometimes they get treats for their floors. Maybe they make some cute signage for their, if someone is sick on the floor or if someone is not feeling well, they kind of, make a card and have everyone sign them. I don't know if Tao or Yuki, if you have any other information about sunshine reps in your time as NCRC.
Yeah, so like I was a sunshine rep before, and I celebrate like each one's birthdays in the dorm. So we have like write a huge birthday card and sign everyone's name on it with wishes, and at each end of the semesters we will order a really big birthday cake for all the students who has birthdays before the Christmas holiday and also before the final.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so it's just you're spreading positivity. Essentially. Yeah. That's what you're doing. Maggie, can we do the 14-day quarantine in residence?
That one's been answered by Cassandra in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you. What size are the dorms? I think has that also been?
I don't think it's been answered, but it could be found on our website, I'm sure.
Yeah, it should be found on our website. I believe it is.
I did respond to the question. I did say that all beds are standard twin. We don't allow residents to bring in furniture. So
this is very important for someone who I actually didn't live on residence all my life or like in my undergrad. So when I did come as a residence don, I needed to know that, okay, twin bed sheets. So make sure you have twin bed sheets, bedding, you bring that. If you don't bring that, that's okay. You can buy that or have it, ordered and stuff. So
the nice thing is we are very centrally located to a number of shops. IKEA is super close. So while we don't allow residents to receive mail prior to their move-in, as soon as you get the keys, you can start receiving mail, packages, super close to Bed Bath & Beyond as well. And you'll also get more information about what to bring, what not to bring. I will include a link in the chat right now about what's listed on our website.
Awesome, thank you. If anyone has any general questions as well, I open it up because you have my attention, you have everyone else who's spoken out this presentation. So yeah, we welcome.
I'm seeing a question about the libraries, Yolanda. I'm not sure if any of us have the insight for what's going on with the libraries right now. In a typical year, yes, the New College Library, we have one located in our Wilson Hall building, DG Ivy Library. Great place to study. Students flock from all over campus there to make space and connect there. Not sure what the spaces are looking like in terms of moving ahead, but generally it's a very common space that students will thrive to and
chances are there'll be some physical distancing guidelines. Again, everything that that we know and see will be physical distancing. So we won't be running at full capacity as it has in the past. We will be making sure that we respond to the existing public health directives at the time, and then easing them as the situation improves. But even that will be closely monitored, because sometimes it's understandable that folks want it eased quicker, and that might not always be the case. We will take a more measured approach because we want everybody to be safe and well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then seeing a question from Terry asking about interconnection speed, what that looking like. I know we have Wi-Fi. Is there also hardwired connections in the building?
There are hardwired connections in the room. There's one, and then Wi-Fi. What I would request you do is email new.residents, and we can work with our IT team to make sure you get any specifics and technical information about what that looks like. So email new.residents at utoronto.ca, and we will get back to you. We recognize that for those of you who are coming from countries other than Canada, depending on your status, whether you are going to be kind of classified or categorized as an international student and need the use for study permits, very little information will be is available around study permits and processing times. We recognize that COVID has impacted processing times. You will need to consult with the Canadian consulate or embassy in your country, in your home country, to figure out what they're doing with that. Chances are there has been I believe March 19th or March 16th, around there, or March 13th maybe, was when things are on hold. But you will need to, we don't have that information. That is something that you will need to consult with the Canadian consulate or the Canadian embassy or mission in your country or your closest city. So, can you use the common room during quarantine? That will also be limited. Each common room has a refrigerator and a stove. Both of those things will be disconnected. They're disconnected right now, and we anticipate that they will continue to be not connected in the fall and out of use in the fall. The goal is that if you are living in residence, that you will use the dining hall in a socially distanced and safe manner, and you will be able to use a mini refrigerator in your room, so that we can kind of minimize cross-contamination, and we can kind of minimize the risk of infection. So that's where we will be. Some of the rules that we are talking about will also be practiced in other residences. So you can guarantee that we are not the only ones being safe. Our colleagues across campus, as well as Scarborough and Mississauga campuses, engaging in the same kind of preventative measures. So.
And it's a really good point to add there, Dirk, is some questions, I got some private questions and then some more general ones. People are asking, well, if New College is having single rooms only, what about like, Innis College or somewhere else? Mm-hmm. And so I think what's important to note for people that are listening here is that like we're getting direction, not making decisions as a New College unit, but we're actually being informed about what's happening at the larger university decisions, so that these things will be across the university.
And it's also important to recognize that we don't have only one kind of housing at this campus. We have suite style housing, which is a number of rooms with shared common spaces for 5 or 6 students, much like an apartment would be. And then we have traditional dormitory styles where we have shared washroom facilities, but folks have their own room or share a room with other people. And typically that will be the case at New College. We have largely single rooms, and in fact, with the pandemic, we will only be offering single rooms next year. But the number of single rooms that we will offer will also really depend on the number of people that we will have accessing particular washrooms at any point in time. And we will be monitoring that ratio to make sure that it is a ratio that is sustainable, that is a ratio that can be, that is safe, that optimizes the well-being and wellness of our residents, as well as our cleaning staff. We recognize that we are in a community, and a community like ours takes a lot of different people to make it thrive. Our cleaning staff and the staff that take care of our buildings are also part of that community. So.
And so I guess as we kind of bring it around here and look to conclude, any final questions you want to ask, feel free to send them to us. But I want to make sure we can answer those, any last minute things. I also wanted to speak to, as we begin to close here, the conversation of what summer welcome looks like. Cassandra alluded to this before. So those who tuned into this following our social media post or saw this maybe in an email somewhere, hopefully that, I'm glad you made it here. what's really important is to know that there are other sessions like this. We had conversations about what a university lecture will look like, conversations about what academic supports look like in your first year, conversations about what involvement looks like. And I know the residence folks gave a certain lens to that, but we also have a much broader one that speaks to what an orientation looks like. What does mentorship in our first year experience look like? So there's a lot of other content out there, and all of these sessions just like this have been recorded. And so what I would ask to you is, if you have been trouble finding that, it's on what we call Presence. Presence is our student engagement software. You'll have received information about it over emails throughout the summer on a bi-weekly basis. We recognize how many emails you're getting right now, so we apologize for that. But if you have any questions about accessing Presence and getting access to the other sessions we've also been recording, that is something you can tap into through that, or writing to myself, which I'll put it in the chat right here, at new.studentlife@utoronto.ca. And so you can write to me, my name's Todd, questions about that. The last thing I'll say before I maybe do a final sweep for questions with the group is to just note that we have seen the popularity and the demand about questions here. And so we are now committing to offering live sessions like this one more time for each of the content. So all of the mock lecture, the academic supports, parent and family sessions, so parents in the room who are saying, hey, student, how can I learn what's going on, or parents and family, we're having a chance to answer those questions one more time in a live format. So those will be taking place throughout July and then the beginning of August, as things become more and more clear, as Dirk, as Cassandra, as Elizabeth have alluded to. We're learning more as we go, and so as we get closer and closer to the start of school, we'll have more and more updates to provide. So I wanted to kind of share that with folks. Any questions or issues accessing those pieces of content, recorded or live, just write to us at new.studentlife@utoronto.ca. I know a couple people have written to me as I was saying this, so maybe one final sweep of the chat. But as we're doing that, I also just want to say thank you so much to everyone for making the time, making time out of your weekend or your morning or evening, wherever it may be. We know there's a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainty, and so hopefully you've had some a little bit ease provided. I know Dirk asked some great questions in the poll there. Hopefully that helped you get a little more clarity as we kind of move forward together in this. But maybe as we shift now to the last sweep of questions, I wanted to say thank you on behalf of our team. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for your thoughtful questions. Thanks for engaging and being patient with us as we navigated about maybe 60 to 80 questions today, which has been really great. Thanks to Elizabeth, to Cassandra, to Dirk, but also as well to our student panelists. So to each of you, thank you so much for tuning in and for contributing to what we did today. I'm going to stop the recording here, but I will stay for a few more moments later to answer any final questions. Any final thoughts, Dirk? I'll throw it to you to close before we finish.
No, I just want to extend my appreciation. We recognize that the answers that we provide, or the responses that we provide, are responses for right now. That the information is changing, the information is evolving. The situation with the pandemic continues to be monitored very, very closely at the federal level here, the provincial level here, and the institutional level here. Each of which has their own orientation to how they're going to interpret the guidelines. And so we ask that you be patient as you kind of converge your excitement with the nervousness and the concern that is understandable during this time. We also really ask you, communication is the key. There's one thing you take away from today's session is that stay communicated, stay in touch. And that means, again, I will say this again, looking at that FAQ at the Vice Provost students. Over the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, much more information will be available around your return or your journey to New College at the University of Toronto, about the quarantine process, about the expectations for whether you are flying in, driving in, whether you're coming in from a country other than Canada, whether you're coming in across the country from another province. It really matters that you consult that FAQ and see what applies to you. For those of you who are having to deal with multiple processes, trust me, I know. I was an international student once in 2 different countries. I recognize that that can be very frustrating. The not knowing about study permits, the not knowing about that processing. I want to say we recognize that. One of the things I want to be able to say is hang in there. Give yourself the time you need to be able to submit your applications and process it in a timely manner. and then let us know. We are trying our best to be able to kind of make sure that we support you in the ways that we can. So hang in there, take good care, and be well. Thank you so much for being here.